just stop. Here's Ross, the host with today's dose of common sense.
Hi, welcome back. Hey, if I look a little frustrated, it's because I already did this show once and I messed it up. So here we are, back to enjoying everything because technology is amazing and I love it all of it. Anyhow, welcome back. Real quick, get this out of the way. I'm sorry if there's some echo. I was talking too loud in here and I have the door open in the exclusive studio, what do we call it? The spare bedroom. Yeah. And, office / studio / musical production facility / cat house, because the cats might come in. I left the door open today. So anyhow, welcome back. And the heart thing. So they went in, they did a catheterization. That's where they put this little tiny thing inside your artery. They go in through your arm, like that, right there where that is. And then it bruises because it pools blood in there and stuff, which is fun. They shot me up with some really cool drugs. Here's the thing. It's in my family. We have this gene that makes painkillers way less effective on us. So in order to stop pain with something, I usually have to take a double dose of stuff. So if like if a doctor would say take 1 Vicodin, I would have to take 2 before it would actually do what it's supposed to do. And I have this conversation with doctors all the time. And there was an incident where, I dislocated my left arm. People say they dislocated their shoulder, which I guess is true, but the head of my humerus was over here. It wasn't where it was supposed to be. And they spent hours. It was literally like 4 hours it took them to get things back in place and all that, but it wouldn't go back in. So they started having to pump me full of drugs and get me to relax. And they wanted to put me in this twilight state so they could do this thing. And they kept pumping me full of drugs, and they had given me painkillers when I first got there. They had given me fentanyl, then they gave me a Percocet, and then they gave me some more fentanyl, and then a couple of hours later, they're like, all right, we're going to have to twilight him. And they started pumping me full of propofol. And I never went out. There was a point where I didn't know what was happening to my arm. I couldn't feel my arm or my shoulder, but I was completely awake and conscious and was talking to the nurse, and we were discussing Kurt Russell movies. And after that, the doctor was like, you're not allowed to leave. You have to stay here for a few hours because I've never pumped that many drugs into someone and have them remain conscious. So we had to have conversations. I have several times in my past. Hey, have you ever been a heroin addict because of my resistance to painkillers like that? And it doesn't seem to be. I was talking to a doctor about it just last week before they were doing this procedure. And I was like, I don't know if it's a specific class of drugs that it works on or anything like that. And so he had me go down a list of different drugs that people have tried. And he was like, no, those are all in completely different classes. They're not related at all. They're not derived from the same, origins or anything. So he's like, this is weird. But the good thing was he asked me about last time, and they looked up what they did last time. And he was like, how did the procedure go? I'm like, well, it went fine, because you can't really feel it when they're poking around inside you in your artery, because your arteries, I guess, don't have nerve endings. But when they inserted everything into my arm and through my groin, I felt it all. And they were like, you shouldn't feel this. You'll feel some pressure. And I was like, yow. And they're like, what, are you feeling that? I'm like, yes. So it was like I wasn't numbed at all. So he modified the procedure a little bit. He gave me a little extra dose of some. They usually give you a little bit of a painkiller to relax you and stuff. And then they spend a lot of time numbing the area where they're going to do the thing. And they did about twice as much as they normally would. And as a matter of fact, after the first lady did it, he came back and did more. And it went a lot better. So thank you to the staff at the cath lab at Altman Hospital. You guys did great this time, but they didn't find anything wrong. It was there because of the chest pressure. They did all these scans. My left side of my heart isn't getting enough blood. There might be a blockage. Let's go in and look at it and fix it. So they didn't do any angio or add a stent or anything because they didn't see anything wrong. The stents that are already there seem to be working. They're open. Everything's fine. So no clear explanation for the heart, chest pressure or the possibly diminished amount of blood going to the left side of my heart. So we're kind of back to square one. Yay, square one, back to the beginning, trying to figure it out. The doctor said we're just going to rely on medicines and exercise, and we're going to see if this changes at all over some time. Right now, it doesn't appear to be anything that I have to worry about. It's more of a nuisance where I have this chest pressure, but it doesn't seem to indicate that anything's wrong, like I'm having a heart attack or, a blockage or anything like that. So we're going to see how it goes, modify some things as we go along and see how it works. But that's your update. I'm not dead. Everything's the same. I was going to say everything's fine, but it's not fine, but it's the same. But I did my 30 minutes of cardio last night. I'll probably do an hour of cardio tonight. It doesn't bother my performance at all as far as having chest pressure or anything like that. I can get on there and do an hour's worth of cardio, and it doesn't cause chest pressure. So it hits me at times when I can't predict when they are. But that's it. So we're just going to keep doing what we were doing. So hopefully the last procedure that I have to go through for a while, and we can get back to a normal life, a normal routine and schedule. Can't wait. The last 2 years have been a bitch, an absolute bitch. So I didn't know what to talk about today, except for the update on the heart, until I got on the app formerly known as Twitter today and was confronted by Katie Miller. Let's go to now I was experimenting with this. There was an update that was done on OBS. I used the OBS to create this phenomenal, thing that you see here. And they've been having some issues with screen shares or something like that, and they did an update, and now my screen share doesn't work right. So when I go to the screen share thing, you should be seeing this thing right now, but you're not. So I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what's going on. So, but every time I open up the screen share because I want to show you something, it brings you right back to this image where it's just this other camera view instead of showing you what is on my screen that I'm looking at that I want you to participate in. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just have you listen to some stuff here. And because you're probably not going to be able to see it. And you're gonna listen to Katie Miller. And Katie Miller is the spouse, the loving wife of Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller being I don't even know what his title is. Let's look him up because I don't remember what it is. He's an advisor to the president, but his specific title is White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy and the United States Homeland Security Advisor. I have no idea why this guy has either one of those jobs. Maybe he's a good secretary and a good planner or something, and that's why he's going to be Deputy Chief of Staff. That's fine, but what the hell does he have? He knows nothing about Homeland Security. And yes, you heard my cat meow. But Stephen, interesting guy, of course. He's basically President Trump's right-hand man, his little goon. Some people call him little mini Goebbels, or Goebbels, whatever. Anyway, they compare him to some Nazi figures. And I don't know, it's probably a little rude. He is a Jewish person, so that's a little ridiculous. But he kind of acts like a fascist, and he hates people. And that's good because the only thing consistent in his life that I've been able to find is that everyone hates him, except apparently his wife and President Trump. So going back to even when he was in high school, he talked to his classmates and different things, and they're like, yeah, no, he was a dick. Nobody liked him. Ran for office, class office, and they were like, no. And it just sort of went on that way. But his Wikipedia page is interesting because they try to portray him as like a regular guy, but he's not. He was raised with privilege. He was raised by an affluent family. His father was an attorney. His mother was a social worker and teacher of some sort or whatever. And they talk about they had, they're in their early life, they had insecurity. And their idea of insecurity, I guess, in this Wikipedia thing is that they sold their mansion in the wealthy neighborhood and bought a smaller house in a less wealthy neighborhood. It's almost literally described that way in his thing. But then they're like, they had insecurity. I don't know. They don't know what insecurity is, it seems like. Either way, raised with money, went to Ivy League schools, went to a private school for high school, went to Hebrew school, did all this other stuff. And then, of course, went to Duke University and went right into politics and other stuff. So really, they try to portray him as a normal guy, but he's not normal. But he does come across very much like a fascist and an asshole all the time. And he kind of is an asshole in public, on TV, talking to everybody. He's always like leaning this way and talking to people like over his own shoulder, which is really weird. I don't know, maybe he has a bad neck and he can't look to the left, or maybe I'm seeing him backwards. So maybe he can't look over his right-hand shoulder. I don't know. But he's always got this weird stance, and he's always got this just nasty look on his face. And he looks evil. His eyes look evil. Candace Owens mentioned this recently, that sometimes people, you can see something in them, like she thought maybe they were hybrids, alien human hybrids, or reptilians. But I think it's evil. I think you can see evil inside people. And I see it in him. He's an evil little fuck. I don't know why anybody likes him, but he doesn't talk to anybody respectfully, except maybe when he's bowing down and doing his mandatory 5 worship sessions for President Trump. I don't get it, but the guy just really comes across as a dick. And his wife, Katie, the lovely Katie, has her own podcast now. I didn't look anything up about her. I have no idea what she did before any of this. I know she and Steven got married in 2020. So they've been married for like 5 years. But she was given this huge platform now. She's got her own podcast show, which she does with her legs crossed in a chair, barefoot. I have no idea why she has her own show. She's not interesting, but it's backed by people with money. It's a professionally done thing. It's not just, oh, look, I bought this, podcast camera and this USB microphone, and I'm going to do this cute little thing. No, it's professional sets, professional 4K cameras, professional audio technicians, the whole 9 yards. There's a guy, I'm sure. And, what do they call that? A gaffer? It's a full production, and it's probably costing them millions to do this. So it was backed by someone, and they just gave her this platform. But she comes across as fairly nice on her own show. She sits there all cross-legged and, dainty, and I don't know how tall she is, but she's trying to come across that way, and she talks very calmly and sweet. But apparently not when she's on other people's shows. So listen in. I'm sorry you're not going to be able to see it. You can do it. You can find it online. It's everywhere. So we're just going to listen to what she says on the Piers Morgan show. This is one clip. It's about a minute something long. And then I'm going to play another clip of the wonderful Katie Miller. But listen to this one first.
Totally lying. It's very normal for a Miller to be completely and utterly lying. quite frankly, I'm really sick and tired of this racist, bigoted rhetoric that comes from people like you against my husband, against my family, and my children. I am raising Jewish children in this country.
Who brought your
in which
children into this? What a weirdo.
Piers, I'm going to be done with this if you're going to allow racist and bigoted attacks against one of your commentators just for the sake that he will not
hang on.
speaking.
Casey, to be clear, Casey, to be clear,
he inserted a line that says the Miller's lie. Is that not coded language for therefore we are Jewish? Come on, Piers, where are you?
What?
Where are you standing?
God, you're so
Katie,
pathetic.
if I can speak.
Everything's your
if I can speak, listen.
Fire him, cancel him, America. Oh my God, Israel's feelings have been hurt. Why don't you work for this country?
All right, can we try and get
this country?
Yeah, you are a guest on my show, and I appreciate you coming on the show, and I like you coming on the show.
And I'm saying the two other guests on your show are welcome to participate in these anti-Semitic attacks that is so permeating on CNN and MSNBC.
This is so ridiculous. I'm sorry. I have to jump in here. Somebody criticizing you personally is not an anti-Semitic attack. If somebody says that you are lying, that is not an attack on Jews. That is an attack on you. And just stop hiding behind identity. This is all the snowflake behavior that the right is supposedly criticizing the left for, that you're simply repeating here. Yes, Stephen Miller is a destructive force in American society. That is not an attack on Jews. That is no reference to his identity. This is an attack on him individually, and just deal with the merits of this case.
Totally.
Okay. Sorry, I had my mic muted so I didn't interrupt. I hope you understood that conversation. He was just saying, hey, you're a liar just like your husband. Oh, you hate Jews. Out of the blue. And you could see if you go watch the video, at least since my screen share thing is not working, the shock on everybody's face when she starts saying this it's hilarious because everybody's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And she just goes on this just gigantic rant about how this is anti-Semitic and racist. And I don't know anything about her. She looks like a typical white girl, but she's Jewish, and I guess people think that's a race nowadays. I don't know why, because it's not. Anyway, it's a religion, but she's just going to say you're a racist and an anti-Semite because you dared to call me and my husband a liar. Oh, but it's even better. Let's listen to, let's see. Oh, see the Katie Miller podcast. It has one of those, on X, it has one of those gold check marks. I think those cost like $1,000 a month. I'm going to have to look into that, but I know it's some ridiculous fee. It's not like a blue check mark where there's like, oh, you're a paying member. It used to mean you were verified and that you were an actual person and you were who you claimed to be. But now it just means you pay. You're a paying member. But they have the gold, I think it's a gold one. I'm partially colorblind, so let's say it's a gold one check mark for organizations and news organizations and programs and shows and TV shows and stuff like that. But I don't know if it still is. But when they first came out with that thing was like $1,000 a month that you had to pay to have that. And I don't know what perks come with it. But anyway, the other video that is, I have to find it. Hold on. And I'm going to find it because it's there somewhere. No, not that one. I'm sorry about this. I had it up earlier when the first time I recorded this show. Okay, this one. It's this one. Hold on. Here we go. Got the desktop audio. Let's listen in. Wait, why is it not playing audio?
Hold on. So what happened in the Holocaust and all the pogroms were disgusting. That doesn't mean that Israel. Hold on. So what happened in the Holocaust and all the pogroms were disgusting. That doesn't mean that Israel.
One more time.
Hold on. So what happened in the Holocaust and all the pogroms were disgusting. That doesn't mean that Israel. Hold on.
Wow. Did you hear what she said? You better check your immigration paperwork. She's going to have him deported. like she has any authority in the government at all, but she's going to try to sick her husband and the government on this guy because he dares to disagree with her and call her a filthy, lying whore. He didn't use that language, but essentially that was the problem. And I find this shocking. Well, first of all, who the hell is she? I have no idea who she used to be. But now she's just Stephen Miller's wife, and she has a podcast. And it's weird. But she's threatening this guy, Sink. What's his name? Sink. Uyghur? I have no idea who he is. Apparently some sort of pundit or whatever. But he's the one yelling at her, calling her a filthy liar. And he's already a citizen of the United States. He wasn't born here, but he's a naturalized citizen of the United States. He doesn't have to check his immigration paperwork and make sure it was all in order because he's already a citizen. But it's wild what is happening out in the world today, in the wild. And Katie Miller is just as nasty as her husband is. And it's shocking to me because he is an ass. He's an obnoxious, rude, pathetic asshole. If you ask me, he gets a lot of press because of it, but he's ridiculous. And now you know the type of person who can tolerate that, and it's because his wife is just like him, I guess. And so, two peas in a pod, they were made for each other. That's fine. Everybody deserves love and to find someone they love. But yeah, you're both assholes. And it's ridiculous that you're going to say it's anti-Semitic to call you a liar, because obviously that's coded language for the Jews are liars. Like she's representative of all of Judaism. And I just find it stupid. This whole anti-Semitism thing has come to a head, and anti-Semitism is bad, okay? And there are a lot of people using that word and throwing it around all the time now as, oh, this is anti-Semitic, or we have to fight against anti-Semitism. And a lot of the times, the things that they're talking about are really not anti-Semitic. A lot of them are, because if you're watching Tucker Carlson and, I don't know, Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes, yeah, you're getting full throttle anti-Semitism, hate the Jews killed Jesus kind of talk. But if you're talking about Israel needs to stop slaughtering people in Gaza, that's not anti-Semitism. To say Israel needs to figure out a way to let these people live in peace, that's not anti-Semitism. Now, are the people in Gaza, is Hamas in Gaza bad? Yes. Hamas is horrible. Hamas is that's a very, they probably have operatives right here in our hemisphere, if not in our country right now. Hamas is a horrible organization, and they deserve to die. All of them. Hamas does. But the millions of people who live in Gaza are not all Hamas. Hamas is, I'm sure, a minority. They got voted in as soon as they gave the Palestinians the right to vote for their own leadership. They voted for Hamas to be their leaders, and there hasn't been a vote since. Imagine that. Hamas is not allowing them to vote for anyone else to, supplant their authority. So they are kind of ruling with an iron fist, and recently Hamas assassinated, well, you can't even call it that, they executed several Palestinians in public on the street, lined them up, made them kneel down, and executed them for whatever reason. So Hamas isn't even kind to its own people, and they've received billions of dollars. They just steal all the aid money and all the aid that's sent there, and they don't let it get distributed to the people. So the people are still starving, and it's horrific. Hamas deserves to be destroyed, 100%. All of Gaza did not deserve to be destroyed, and the, whatever it is, 2 million people who live there, all of them don't deserve to die, just Hamas. And the way Israel handled it, it's pretty wrong. It's just not the way it should have been done. And it's overboard. And there have been a lot of people in my entire life have been 100% supportive of Israel because it's part of their religion, essentially. If you're an evangelical Christian, supporting Israel is kind of like part of the package, because Israel is going to play some sort of a role in the coming kingdom and the second coming of Jesus and all of these other things. And your religion grew out of the Jews in Israel and Christianity. I know a lot of people have an issue with this, but Christianity began as a Jewish sect. It was a Jewish religion until all the Greco-Roman people got a hold of it and decided to turn it into some sort of a pagan thing. I don't know, but can't say that out loud. Then the Catholics will be after me, which is fine. I don't give a shit. So anyway, people I've in my family and people I've known my whole life who were always supportive of Israel are to the point where they are also saying this has to stop. What are they doing? They need to stop slaughtering those people. So Israel's losing a lot of support that they've had, they've been able to count on for decades now, and they're starting to lose that because of how they've conducted themselves here. Now, does Israel have the right to defend itself? Sure. Against attack? Absolutely. Terrorist attack? Yeah. Go get them all. The terrorists, you don't just bomb entire cities and turn them into just piles of rubble because there's a few thousand people who need to be captured or killed. It's bad. So I believe that Israel has the right to exist and that it has the right to defend itself, but you don't do it by slaughtering an entire, population that didn't do the thing, the very, very bad thing. October 7th was horrific. And anyone who tries to claim that it isn't, and that it wasn't as bad as people make it out to be, and believe me, I've heard this. They didn't kill those people. They didn't kill those children. They didn't kidnap anybody. Oh, this person was still alive. And all that shit. People who were just hate the Jews so much that they were willing to excuse what Hamas did that day. And a lot of them were young people, college-age kids who are just fucking stupid. But I digress. Anyway, no, that's not good either. And I'm, hey, I used to teach classes on the subject of terrorism and anti-terrorism. And I believe every terrorist, the only solution to their problem is a bullet. That's it. That's the only thing that works. Now, by doing that, you tend to create more of them. So you have to kill a lot of them in order to make a real difference. And that was our problem in Afghanistan. People ask me, why didn't Afghanistan work? And I just say, we didn't kill enough of them. It's probably just a very simplistic way of looking at it, but it's way more complex than that. There's a whole geopolitical thing involved. There's a whole education thing involved. There's a whole historical thing involved. But, why was the Taliban able to reconstitute themselves so fast and take over the country as we were pulling out? Well, because we didn't kill enough of them. Because they were hiding in countries where we weren't allowed to go kill them. So anyhow, it's probably going to get me banned from this thing, but that's how war works. And, it's bad. But not everything you say, the things that I just said about Israel are not anti-Semitic. It has nothing to do with their religion, their history, or nothing. It has to do with you've gone overboard. And it's the same thing I'll say about, a lot of things, the things that we've done as a country. Hey, you kind of went overboard. We've done it before. You might say that the Gulf War was one of those things where it's like we needed to force Iraq out of Kuwait, so we just laid waste to them, and it was majestic. But not we, I wasn't there. But, as a country. But anyway, the highway of death, look that up. Was that necessary? Probably not. And coming from someone who used to teach classes on war crimes and laws of war and stuff, Yeah, some of that stuff was probably bad. Definitely bad, but whatever. It's a war. So things happen and they're bad. There's nothing really good about any of it. The whole world is just shit right now. And I don't know how it's going to recover, but we have to make it recover somehow. I just don't know how. And I don't think anybody else knows how either. So they're just sort of riding this wave of chaos, hoping that somebody will come along and change it. I don't think anybody's gonna. It's definitely not going to be Trump or anybody he knows. That's for sure. And it won't be Stephen or Katie Miller, who apparently are so full of hate that they can't even have a conversation on a talk show with someone who disagrees with them. And that's just bad. So anyway, that's going to be it for today. And I'll see you in a couple of days. We'll put the show together and talk about something. I just wanted to get on and really give you an update about the heart thing and let everybody know that I was okay. And then this other thing came up that I saw, and I just thought I would mention it. And, I got off topic, but it's just a nightmare out there. So everybody, tomorrow, have a happy Thanksgiving if you haven't celebrated already. And yes, I said Thanksgiving. It's the wrong month, dumbass. My brain's not in the right place. Have a happy Halloween, and don't eat all the candy, and let your kids have fun. Stop being dicks and letting your children not have the same kind of fun that you had when you were young. But of course, if you were raised in one of those households where you're not allowed to celebrate Halloween and go out and do the trick-or-treat thing because apparently you're worshiping Satan or something like that, don't do that to your kids. Let your kids be kids. Let them enjoy stuff. I mean, Jesus. That's ridiculous. You're not worshiping Satan because you dressed up like Pikachu and went and did trick-or-treat at people's door to get candy. You dumbasses. Anyway, I'm getting off topic again. Maybe I'll do a Halloween show tomorrow or something. Probably won't, but maybe on the weekend. We'll see. But until then, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Take care of each other, because that's what you're supposed to do. Look out for each other, and keep your head down and your powder dry.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Really? Just Stop with your host, Ross. Make sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so that you never miss a dose of some common sense.